Good morning, dear students. Today's lecture is devoted to the classification of phraseological units by Viktor Vladimirovich Vinogradov. But before starting the lecture, let's revise the information which was given before. We said that phraseological unit, it is a subject matter of phraseology. Also, we talk about the science of phraseological units. They are stability, reproducibility, integrity of meaning, and dismember structure. Also, we talk about the types of phraseological units, and we divided phraseological units into four groups, which are phraseological fusions, phraseological unities, phraseological combinations, or it is also called phraseological collocations, and the last type is phraseological expressions. So this classification, these types of phraseological units were proposed by Viktor Vladimirovich Vinogradov, and today we will talk about this classification in detail. Viktor Vladimirovich Vinogradov, he is a Russian scientist, one of the important one, and he wrote many works, more than 2,200 words, and he is known as a Soviet linguist, literary scholar, member of Academy of Science of USSR. He was born in 1894 in Zaryansk, and then he moved to Petrograd, and in 1917 he had graduated from the Historical, Philological and Archaeological Institute. Then for the biggest part of his life, for more than 50 years, he had been teaching. He was a teacher in Leningrad State University, in Moscow State University, and other Soviet scientific institutions. And in 1940s and 50s, he formed a school of Vinogradov, and his followers were united by the general understanding of the language, nature, and the methodology of his study. And according to Vinogradov's theory, on the one hand, the core of linguistics is word, and on the other is text. And his studies influenced much on the development of vocabulary, grammar, word formation, phraseology, phonetics, and the scientist submitted new systematization of Russian linguistics. So the material of his study was Russian language. Today we will talk about his classification of phraseological units. First, we've said that the first type of his classification of phraseological units, they are phraseological fusions. We should also mention that his classification is based upon the motivation of the unit, that is the relationship between the meaning of the whole and the meaning of its component. So classification of Viktor Vladimirovich Vinogradov is based upon the motivation of the unit. What is motivation? It's a relationship between the meaning of the whole and the meaning of its components. So the first type, phraseological fusions, as we have already known, they are based on unmotivated meaning. Meaning which is never influenced by the meaning of its component. It means that phraseological fusions represent the highest stage of blending together. The meaning of the component is completely absorbed by the meaning of the whole, by its expressiveness and emotional properties. For example, once in a blue moon, it means very seldom. To cry for the moon, to demand unreal. Or under the rose, it means quietly. Sometimes phraseological fusions are called idioms, under which linguists understand a complete loss of the inner form, внутренняя форма. To explain the meaning of idioms is a complicated etymological problem. What is etymological? Connected with the origin. For example, tit to tat, the expression, means to revenge. but no one can explain the meaning of the words tit and tet. We do not know the meaning, the translation of the words tit and tet, but altogether tit to tet means to revenge. So the first type, they are phraseological fusions. Uh, they are based on unmotivated meaning. The next type of phraseological unities, whole meaning of which is motivated by the meaning of its component. In general, phraseological unities are the phrases where the meaning of the whole unity is not the sum of the meaning of its component, but it is based on them and may be understood from the components. The meaning of the significant word is not too remote from its ordinary meaning. This meaning is formed as a result of generalized figurative meaning of a free word combination. It is the result of figurative metaphoric reconsideration of a word combination. For example, to come to one's sense, it means to change one's mind. To come home, to hit the mark, to fall into rage, to get angry. You see that the we can guess the meaning of the phraseological unit by one of its components. For example, to get angry, angry and rage, or sense and mind. Okay, next, phraseological unities are characterized by the semantic duality, двойственность. One can't define for sure the semantic meaning of a separately taken phraseological unit is isolated from the context, because these word combinations may be used as free in direct meaning and as phraseological in the figurative meaning. And also we said that phraseological unities they are always stylistically marked. They always express coloring, folk coloring, expressiveness. And phraseological fusions, they are not stylistically marked. They do not express any coloring. Then the third is phraseological combinations or collocations, they also called. They contain one component used in its direct meaning, while the other is used in a figurative meaning. Phraseological combinations or collocations is a construction or expression in which every word has absolutely clear independent meaning, while one of the components has a bound meaning. Bound, it means figurative. To make an attempt, to try, to make haste, to hurry, to offer an apology, to beg pardon. Next, the last type of phraseological units, they are phraseological expressions. A phraseological expression is a stable by form and usage, semantically divisible construction, components of which are words with free meanings. East or west, home is best, marriages are made in heaven, still waters run deep. Phraseological expressions are proverbs, sayings, aphorisms of famous politicians, writers, scientists, and artists. They are concise sentences expressing some truth, as ascertained by experience or wisdom and familiar to all. They are often metaphoric in character and include elements of implicit information well understood without being formally present in the discourse. Discourse is a text. Thank you very much for your attentive listening, and bye.